G'day folks, how you going? In this episode we're going to have a look at toolboxes, toolkits, what sort of stuff you might want to think about carrying while you're travelling out and about. In the first part we're going to have a look at the type of tools and things I carry, and then in the second part we're going to have a look at a friend of mine's vehicle. He does a little bit more sort of further outback kind of exploring compared to what I do. So we'll check out what kind of equipment he has and see if there's much difference. So while I run the intro, how about you go down and hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up as well. You'll really be helping out the channel. We'll see you in a minute. Bloody amazing. Alright, so toolboxes. I've been asked a few times what sort of tools do I carry when I go away, and a friend of mine actually came up with the idea that maybe I should do a video on it, so that's what we're going to do today. So now the kit that I have is the kit that I use when I travel with my job as a coach driver. So I've got a lot more than what the average person really needs to have, because on buses and that, they got bigger bolts than what you have on a car. So I'm a little bit over more than what you need. Now, when you're travelling in the bush these days, there's a lot of people travelling around. There's a lot of services around. You've got mobile phones and things. So do you really need to carry tools? Well, I think yes, you do need to carry something, even if it is basic. Now, everybody's different, depending on who you are, where you're going, what you're doing, to what kind of tools you think you might want. Now, you know, just because you're not a mechanic doesn't mean you shouldn't carry tools, because you might not be able to fix something, but the bloke that comes along behind you, he might be a mechanic, but he doesn't have the tools with him. So it's good if you carry your own stuff. So let's have a look at what I think is a basic kit that everybody should carry. As I said, it really depends on who you are, where you're going, what you're doing. So let's start. If nothing else, a screwdriver kit is a good way to start off. Now, I've got this kit here. I bought this and it cost me probably about $20–25, and it's got big screwdrivers, little screwdrivers, got some sockets in here, some jeweler's screwdrivers, which is great for getting into you know, little screws and things like that. Like I said, I paid, I don't know, $20–25 or something for this. If you wanted to buy these screwdrivers individually, you'd probably spend a fair bit more money doing it. So this is a cheap way of having a screwdriver kit, and you've got a box to actually keep them safe in as well. So this is my main socket set. Now, a little while ago I did a video on some King's four-drive supercenter products, and I didn't put this toolkit in there because I wanted to use it for this video here. So a lot of people don't like King's products, so they're cheap, nasty crap and all that sort of thing. Look, I've got a lot of products, and yes, they are cheap. You get what you pay for. And I've had no problem with really any of them. As far as this this toolkit goes, I have done some pretty hefty bolts off of coaches and done them with this toolkit, and I haven't broken anything. I reckon this kit is well worth the money. To buy these parts individually, you will spend a hell of a lot more than what this kit is worth. Now, when I bought it, I think I paid $75–80 or something like that for it. And the reason why I actually bought this kit is because I did have some of my own tools in this box here, and I'll come to that one in a minute. But the reason why I bought this kit was because I wanted to get a set of these spanners that have the little ratchet in the end for the for the nuts, because I originally had this set of spanners here, but they don't have the ratchet in the end there, and sometimes you get onto a bolt and you don't really have a lot of room to be able to move the spanner around or to get it off and on to move the spanner, where here it's a lot easier to swing. Now at the time, to buy a set of these, I was looking at somewhere around about $80. But this whole box cost me 80 bucks, 75 bucks something. So this was a cheap way of me getting a set of these ringies. So this is actually the reason why I bought them. And as I said, I've used them on some pretty hefty nuts and I have not broken anything. So what do you get in this kit here? Well, you got your spanners there, and some screwdrivers as well with some bits in here. You've got your socket set on this side over here. And it's got the sizes that you generally would use on cars, whether it's a four-wheel drive or a car. It's generally got the main sockets that you would use, so you don't have a lot of wasted space of other sockets that you will rarely ever use. So, and then in the bottom down here, there's another hammer down there. There's a long bar in there as well. So there's quite a fair bit in here for your money. If you can get it out, there you go. So you got one of them in there as well, which is really handy, and I've put a lot of pressure on it, and like I said, I haven't broken anything. Now what I liked about this particular kit, because you can get these tools in like a soft bag arrangement as well. They sell that, which is similar sort of price range. But for me, the benefit of having it like this, I can look here and I can see that I've got everything. If there's a hole, I know that part is missing, and then I can go find it. Because like I said, I mostly use this on buses, and you'd be amazed how many places there are when you're inside a bus engine trying to fix something and you put something over there. There's so many places you can put something, and then later on you can't find it again and don't realise it's missing. Where in the bag, you put it all in the bag, you can't see nothing. Here I can see where everything is, and I can tell that's when stuff is missing. So that's my main box. Now before I had this box here, I actually had, where'd it go? Over here. This is the original socket set I was using. It's a nice little compact one. It's probably okay for most cars and that sort of thing, because it does go up to a fairly decent sized socket. But the good thing is it goes down to little ones as well. So if you've got small nuts, this is convenient for that, where you can't do that with this other box. But the problem with this is, this only has a 1/4 inch drive on here, as opposed to the other one which has a 1/2 inch drive. Now a 1/2 inch drive, you can put a lot of weight to get some bolts undone. Here you could potentially break the nut, so break the 1/4 inch drive. So wasn't really happy with that for my purposes for the coach. Plus some of the 4-wheel drives, you've got some tight bolts on it, so having a bigger set would be more of an advantage. So that was my original socket set, and this is also my original spanner set that I had. And I think for this I paid something like around about $40. They weren't expensive, but they'll get me out of trouble, and I think this is probably around 40 or 50 bucks as well at the time. This is the original toolbox I had. Inside here I have some bigger spanners, some big spanners. It's always handy to have a can of oil spray, whether it's WD-40 or CRC, doesn't matter, it's all the same thing. Got another big hammer in here as well, because this one's got a light hammer, this one's got a heavier hammer, and lots of other incidental tools. I've got my tyre pressure gauge here as well, so when I'm dropping the tyres on the car to go sand or something, then I can check my tyre pressures and that as well. But like I said, the problem with this sort of arrangement is you can go hunting to try and find, I can't get the things back in again. You can go hunting to try and find the tools that you want to find. So this is a little bit more messier. A couple of good lights as well. I've got this one here, and then I've also got this one here. and both of these are magnetic. So if I was working on the engine or something, I could stick these up underneath and then see what I'm doing. So this one here I think cost me about $5 or $6 from Supercheap. It's quite a cheap little light and really good. This one came as a free gift when I bought something from Supercheap, from Four-Wheel Drive Supercentre. Something else I think you need to have as well, definitely, is a tarp. Because although you might be driving on bitumen roads, if you break down, more than likely you're going to be parked in the dirt somewhere. So if you put this under your car, if you've got to get under it, then this way at least you're not getting all the dirt and crap all over your clothes. So it's always good to have a cheap little tarp. In here I have my electrical repair kit. So I've used this to fix heaps of electrical stuff on coaches when they break down all the time, you know. I have I've got a crimping kit here, so I've got lots of electrical connectors and a proper crimping tool for fixing wires if you pull a wire out or something like that. I have a gas soldering iron if I'm going to need to solder something, and obviously I've got a roll of solder in here somewhere. Some extra electrical cable in case I pull a cable out and I've got to replace it or something. Just lots of bits and pieces, connectors and stuff I've accumulated, spare Anderson plugs as well, so that's always really handy. In fact, when I was in Darwin, this came in handy because I had broken the socket, the connector for where the caravan plugs in the back of the car. When I was in a dirt track somewhere, I bellied out and smashed the socket on the car. So I had the stuff here I needed to be able to even fix that. So where'd the lid go? Find it later. Oh, there it is there. In here, this is just a little box I've just recently added because this stuff used to be in there, but there's so much of it now. This is just cable ties. Cable ties can get you out of so much trouble. So I've got lots of different size cable ties. Because I've got so many of them now, I've got to carry them in a separate box. In a coach wasn't a problem because I had plenty of room in there, but in a car having another box is a bit of a nuisance. And you've got to weigh up between weight and space to put all this stuff when you're packing your car up as well. So when you're looking for a toolkit, you can get something like this. Now, this was actually given to me as a just in case kit, and nothing against the brand itself, it's fine, but the problem is there's nothing really all that useful in here as far as like a repair kit for a car or something. There's no sockets. There's well, there is a couple of sockets, but they're too small to do anything on a proper car. There's no, these sockets here, they clip onto where is it, this little tool here, so you've got no spanner or anything to be able to get anything off. So I wouldn't really bother buying something like this. I would actually spend a little bit more money and get yourself at least a basic full kit. That's the most economical way of doing it. So that's what I carry, and I travel on the road with the caravan and a little bit of off-road stuff, but nothing sort of serious or anything like that. And you should also, while I'm thinking of it, carry spare oil, spare coolant for your car, and make sure it's got the right coolant for your type of car, because you can't just use anything. In a pinch you can throw water in there, but at your first earliest convenience you really should get that water out and replace the coolant, put proper coolant back in, or else you'll prematurely corrode the engine and radiator and stuff like that. So they should be carried as well. Obviously make sure you have jacks and tools to get the wheels off your car. If you've got a caravan, make sure you've got stuff that fits to that as well, because what fits your car may not fit your caravan. Make sure you've got a set that fits both. and that's pretty much what I think the average person should be carrying. Alright, so there you go, that's what I carry. Next week's episode we'll have a look at what this other vehicle has on it that goes a little bit more outback kind of touring. So till next week, happy travels.